morning everyone. Today I am showing you my latest venture to Recraft, which is a craft reuse store near me. My husband was so gracious to hold the camera and take a few shots for me to add to the beginning of my video. As you can see, there is a lot of stuff at this place. It is a rather large room, but it is extremely well organized. And for the most part, everything is priced. They recently moved, and so there are a few items that are not priced, but most of those items are very cheap once I got to the register. I think this is an old Best Buy building or maybe a grocery store. It's a perfect space for them. I never like to see myself in videos when I'm shopping because I'm usually wearing my reading glasses and I'm getting used to wearing them, and so I feel like I look stuck up because I'm sort of looking down at everything. I promise you I'm not. It's just I'm learning how to look past the frames, if you know what I mean. I am new to reading glasses as in the past several years, and I need them when I go out and shop so I can read the small print. But there's lots of fill the bag areas. I've said this in the first video. I think where they could stand to lower their prices a little bit is right here in the sewing notions. The patterns are okay, but all of the other little notions are just, I think a fill the bag option would be ideal. This is the area where they have those very large pull-out drawers with ephemera inside, and almost everything, unless it's marked, is 25 cents. And this is where I have found some really cool greeting cards. They have slides, which I don't need any more of at the moment. Unfortunately, there were only 2 paper dolls this time, and they were not very good paper dolls. They do have used sewing machines at, I think, great prices. And this is their racks of large fabric rolled up, upholstery fabric, and then in a minute you'll see a couple of snapshots of me at the fat quarter section. I was going through and finding my vintage fat quarters, and I was amazed at this one I had in my hand. This is just some of their office supplies and stuff like that. So now I'm going to show you everything that I got at the craft reuse store. Here it goes. So I picked up several pieces of fabric. It's kind of funny. Every time I go into a certain place, I'll say, I'm getting everything but no fabric. And of course, that's never going to happen because I think fabric is one of my favorite things to buy and favorite things to work with in journals. And it did not happen this time. So I mainly tried to get fabric that was vintage, but I did pick up a few newer items. This is a vintage calico, probably by Cranston Printworks, which I think most of them are. And I don't think that I had any brown. And I love it when they have the little flowers that look like hearts. So that was pretty fun. And it looks like, according to the price tag, those had just come in about 5 days earlier. So that was a pretty cool find. And then I got this piece, which is very shabby chic. I don't know, I like to use fabric like this in my 50s journals because I feel like, you know, it looks like a dress or even upholstery from that time period. This is actually sewn together. This looks like it might have been the start of a pillow sham. So that's pretty cool. I love the pink with the celery green. I got this little piece of tiny floral on a royal blue, which is really pretty. These probably came from the same person because they're all on the same date. That person must have my style. I just can't pass up ditzy florals. I mean, I don't know. They're just amazing. I got 3, and my husband and daughter were like, those are basically the same thing. And I'm like, no, they're not. There's subtle differences between them. So I got this piece, which is kind of like a bark cloth. And I just love the red background with the cerulean blue and the bright green. I would love to make like a zippered tote or a tote bag out of bark cloth, vintage bark cloth at some point, but for now I will enjoy using it in my journals. This is, I'm assuming, pseudo vintage, probably not as old as what I just showed you, but it is another calico, and it is, wow, there's a lot of threads. It is another red. I mean, it's, as you can see, it's very similar, but not. Variation on a theme, we shall say. I just have to cut these threads off because it bothers me when they're like that. There, it's a little bit better. Yeah, pretty. Love it. And then this is very childlike and whimsical. I'll probably be putting this in the childhood journals that I'm working on this week. I did not sew ruffles to the edges of the pages of these. I only did eyelets on one of the signatures, and the other signature is going to have pom-pom trim. So I decided not to do ruffles. I did do some fabric tabs, but I like to also add ruffles to the top of journaling cards. It does make the bulk a little more in the journal, but I say more is more, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so, one more folded piece real quick. Another calico, and I think I already have this pattern, but that's okay. I didn't have much of it, and I just keep thinking, when all of this vintage calico is gone, it's all gone. So I need to get what I can before it is used up. I just love the bright yellow though. Okay, so if you remember last time, I didn't get a video of it, sadly, but there is a gigantic bin of fabric scraps, and each piece is 25 cents. Now, you get your money's worth if you can find more of the bigger size pieces, which I tried to do, but I'm not gonna get a piece just because it's large. I have to like the material. So I got this one. This one is an upholstery or a curtain fabric. And it's not vintage, but it looks vintage because of the type of, like, the block illustration style. Look at that daffodil. And I love florals on black, and that's what this is. So, really fun, sort of a geometric floral pattern. And it's just one long strip, probably the end cut to something that was being made. This is probably what I was most excited about that day. Y'all look. This is a cotton piqué, and it is strawberries that are pink and red and yellow. Or I guess that's more of an orangey yellow. I call that color pimento cheese. And then it's got strawberry blossoms on a beautiful tropical blue background. And I love it. These pieces are all very odd shaped, but that's fine. I think it must have been made into a little dress, maybe for a little tot. But I can work with this, for sure. This one is the most square piece that I got. I mean, is it just swoon worthy? I think it is. And I have 2 more pieces. I was like, I'm not gonna be nice this time. I'm gonna get every piece of this in this bin, and I did. Oh, I can't help it. I cannot pass up strawberry anything. And then another little piece of calico. This was in the 25-cent bin, and I'd never seen the mint green. I thought that was super interesting. And honestly, I like that this could be used in a fall or a spring journal because it's light and airy, but then you have the yellows and the burgundies and the gray. So I think it'd be a nice cool splash in a fall journal that's mostly browns and oranges and reds. And then last from that bin, I found this seersucker that is little tiny apples. And I think this is just cute, not only for a cookbook journal, but maybe a back to school journal. I think it would have made a cute little romper or something for a kid. And it's just so light and airy and flowy. I love seersucker, anything. I found this in the cross-stitch fabric bin. It is not cross-stitch fabric per se. It is a pillow sham. Look at that beautiful blue and white calico. And it's got ruffles. It is called cross-stitch potpourri. 12-inch pillow sham, originally $16. I paid $1 for it. And all you have to do is add a cross-stitch of your choice. Is that not amazing? I will be doing this eventually, you know, when my time frees up a little bit, if that ever does happen. Haha, I say that very jokingly. But I have a lot of embroidery and cross-stitch projects in a bag, and I'm just kind of holding on to them, unfinished pieces like this that I know that I'll probably get to eventually. In the embroidery department also, they had a snowy owl crewel called by Jiffy Stitchery, and it said it was finished. And when I turned it over, y'all, look, it's legitimately finished. It's not only finished, it's wrapped around a piece of cardboard, and it truly is ready for a frame. So I will be framing this happily. They actually had two there. I left one behind, not just because I wanted someone else to find it as a treasure, but because it was very fallish. Like it was a beautiful barn owl, the other one, but the trees behind it were full of fall leaves, and I didn't want that in my house like all year round, but I wouldn't mind having this in my house all year round. So adorable, huh? If you like owls, I know you're loving that. And it was $1. I would pay $1 for an unfinished kit. I would pay way more for a finished, but I was like, I will pay what they charge. And then I found some laces and trims. Whenever I see this, I keep wanting to say brocade. That's not what this is called. It's just the embroidered trim. I know there's a word for it. It's just escaping me right now. I pick it up because, as you probably know, it is not inexpensive. And I just love the colors. I love blue with red. I love the way the red pops off the blue. And then here's another piece right here with some rosebuds. And here's another piece right here that's a little more, shall I say, Scandinavian looking. And then here's some pink seam binding and some orange. And then we have this beautiful, I'll probably put this in the summer journals too, beautiful, almost upholstery edging in blue and red and white. This was also in the box of lace, and y'all, I don't think this is vintage. I think it's made to look old, but it's obviously not brand new. Have y'all ever seen anything like this? It's kind of like a butternut color, and I think it's supposed to look like tatting, but it had no price. Obviously, a price sticker is going to be kind of hard to stick to something like this, so I got to the front and asked, and she said, was it in the lace bin? And I said, yes. She said, $1. And I was like, okay. So beautiful, beautiful for $1. Could not pass that up. It's a little more Victorian antique-y, which, as you know, is not my #1 style choice, but I do make journals in that, with that feel. I got this little teddy bear trim with little hearts. There was not a whole lot left on the roll, but it's cute. It will go great in a teddy bear journal, but also baby journal. And it's Michael's. It's old Michael's. Probably early 2000s, if I'm guessing. One more piece of embroidered trim. Look at this. I had a heart attack when I first saw it because I thought this was a strawberry, but it's still cute. It's a ladybug. And it's 3 yards, it says. It almost looks like a lot of this stuff came from a fabric store that had closed down, or someone had bought stuff like this, you know, marked down and put it in their stash and never used it. Because some of the little tags like this were still attached to it. I got this elastic, not because I need elastic, I don't. Y'all, I paid 50 cents for this just for this wrapper. If you've watched my channel for any number of weeks or months, you know that my favorite type of junk journal will make is vintage sewing, because it's probably the most nostalgic memory theme for me. I grew up with a mom that sewed almost all of my clothes, and her mama sewed for her, and her mama sewed for her. And so I spent a good deal of my childhood in piece good shop. And I don't know if y'all had these where you live, but we had them here in the South, and I don't really know the story behind them. If you Google it, there's very, very little about the company, and that makes me sad. I wish someone would like write a history of it. I would gladly buy a book about the history of it. But I think they were Christian owned, because I don't remember them playing Christian music in the stores. They may have a long time ago. I remember it being like, you know, just generic elevator type music. But on all of their bags for the longest time, they had the plan of salvation on it. And then for the husbands that go shopping with their wives, on a table that's the slanted tables where you used to sit and look at the sewing pattern counter catalogs, there was a separate slanted table, and one side of it, at every one I ever went to, it was comic books for men. And they weren't like Marvel comics. They were really, really good comics. And my dad, you know, my dad's an illustrator, so he's pretty picky about both the storyline and the images in them. And he said they were very well made comics, but I think they all had a biblical message. So that's super cool. I just think that's cool. Another distinguishing feature of the Piece Good Shop was over the counter where you get your cloth cut and where you pay, they had the stained glass, almost Tiffany style light hanging fixtures, kind of like that used to be in Pizza Hut back in the day. I hope I'm describing it. If I can find a picture, I won't find a picture of the Piece Good Shop ones to show you, because I haven't been able to find a picture of the inside of a Piece Good Shop online anywhere. But I believe they actually had them custom made, because I remember seeing inside, like written in the glass, was Piece Good Shop, and it had this little logo. So it was just beautiful. I just love the store, and when I see things like this, I have to get it. Sorry to go off on that little tangent. Piece Good Shop is very special to me, and if y'all have any stories or memorabilia or pictures or anything about Piece Good Shop, please share them with me. If not in a comment, please email me. I would love, I'm trying to sort of start a folder of Piece Good Shop memories or fabric store memories, and I would love to put images and stuff like that in it. I picked this up. My daughter and I both like to wear these little belts, and these look like they've been handmade by someone. They're just the ribbons with the stitching, and then they added the clips. But these were $2 for 3. And so we just decided to go ahead. This one doesn't have a buckle, but these two do. We decided to go ahead and grab them because we like them. Over in their department where they have, you might have seen me with those large, very wide drawers, almost like architectural plan drawers. I found this just sitting on top, and I love these. This is one of my favorite patterns. I believe these are current catalog brand, but I love the Western style font, and I love the fluorescent colors. So they weren't priced. I think she charged me either 25 or 50 cents. I don't know. It kind of gets crazy when you go there because so many things aren't priced yet because they've just moved to a new location. So you just kind of have to watch. And I haven't seen anything that was overpriced yet. I grabbed these. These were in the office supply area. I had never seen the notarial seals. I am a notary, and I've never used these seals. I just use my little stamp, but the stamp that I have would go off the edge of these. So I wonder if notary stamps a long time ago were smaller. I think only 1 or 2 have been used. They're mostly in here. And I just think they'd be fun to add to a pocket or tag. And of course the box is cute too, and I can use that when they're all gone. And then the last few things I have are some books and notepads. So somehow the first time I went to the store, I completely looked over, like walked past the book table. It wasn't really a table. It was kind of like one of those that you see in a preschool classroom where the books are stacked almost like a stair step, and they're all facing to the front. But I found this Stretch and Sew sewing book. They had two of them there. One of them, the interior was hot pink like this. But this one was orange, and the only reason I got the orange over the pink is because the lady who had this one had written, like, here's a piece that she just put in here. Questions to ask Judy. I don't know how old that note is. The book is from the 70s, but she underlined and made notes pretty much in this whole book, and I just think that makes for more interesting pages to add to journals. I mean, it's just so cool. It's almost like she used this as a textbook and made her own notes on what made it easier for her. So she might have been a professional seamstress, because there were quite a few books at the store that had the same writing in it. So she had a pretty extensive library. Just so cool, y'all. Next, I had never seen this book, and I think it's super interesting and so usable in so many ways. In fact, if you like this book, I am sure that you could find this on Thrift Books. I'd be surprised if you could not. It's called Mary Gilliat's Mix and Match Decorating Book. 250,000 combinations of wall coverings, fabrics, and floorings, and a unique mail service. I guess that's what's at the back, the little mail service cards. But basically, it's a spiral notebook. That's fun. I didn't see the inside. Spiral notebook of paint color chart. So here's the room schemes, wall coverings, fabrics, and floorings, and they're all individual. Let me see, my camera's not backed up enough. Look, they're individual cards. And so like a child's book that you would have with the different parts of the person and their clothing, you can sort of say, oh, I want this room, and I want it to have this wallpaper, and I want it to have this pillow, and I want it to have this floor. And it sort of gives you almost like a design board, but in card form. So you could start with something like this. And it even told you what brand and name of the wallpaper patterns are. Let's see if it has a date. It looks 80s. 84. Yep. Everyone in the 80s loved this grid, didn't they? So yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's a really unique book. I think these will be great just torn out and tucked into a pocket in a journal, because they're so fun, and you don't see this very often. At least I'd never seen it. I picked up, excuse me, I picked up a couple of engineering data pads. I've never heard of this company, but the first sheet is beautifully yellowed, and then as you go through, they get whiter. So they've obviously been stored for a while, but you know, when I see interesting pads like this, I pick them up. I got a piano book. Not that I really needed another piano book, but honestly, I don't have many child books. I have mostly just regular sheet music books. And this one had stars and writing throughout. And I think there's some, no, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking of one I already own. No, there is some. There's Denison labels in here too, y'all. I think that's so cool. That looks like a foiled Denison label. Just, you know, back in the good old days when you got excited about a sticker, you know. I did. My piano teacher used to give us scratch and sniff stickers. And she also, at the end of our lesson, she would give us candy corn. I thought that was super fun. So I think I took a couple of courses from this book. I didn't like it as much as I liked the other one, but I did. Occasionally you'll find some unusual things there, and so I found this cursive recorder book. So I used this brand when our kids were learning handwriting. I did teach them cursive. That was one of the main things that I wanted to make sure I taught them in school. Only the first page is graded and written on. I'm assuming this is graded. It might be self-graded. But it's got this beautiful, lovely light green color to it and different color print. And I love how the, can you see? It's almost like it's speckled. It's not solid writing. It's almost like the composition notebook cover. That's what it reminds me of. So I picked this up for $1. I'll show you the ephemera drawer stuff now. In the ephemera drawers, there's one drawer of photos, and I think they're 25 cents a piece, big or small. I found this big one. This one has seen better days, for sure. It has been carried around, and someone labeled every one. This must have been this person's class. And I just love how, at one time it was folded. I just love how someone carried around this 9th grade picture. That teacher in the middle. I'm assuming he's the teacher. We've got some beehives and some bouffants in here. And yeah, very handsome students. I can't even fathom. Maybe this was a private school because they look somewhat uniformish, but I can't even imagine a 9th grade class picture with boys wearing suits nowadays. So I think it's a beautiful snapshot of the past. 9th grade, Queens, New York, 1965. Cardozo Junior High School. Then I found this. This was in the drawers, and because it was a book, I think she charged me a little more than everything else, but that was fine because it's one of those books. My mama had one of these for me, and I think they've looked the same for decades, but this one was unused. So these are not only pages to fill out, but each page is a pocket, and you put your report card or awards, ribbons, and stuff like that in each folder. And the cover is just so nostalgic and cute. This was in the ephemera box. It is Look in the Book. It was an ad for Yellow Pages. Let your fingers do the walking. Do y'all remember that? And it is just, it's got some beautiful pages to add to a journal. And of course the cover itself will be a great page as well. Another telephone book, Blue Book of Telephone Numbers. The nicest gift of all was a long distance call. The Bell Telephone Company of Pennsylvania. This one has tabs for the alphabet, which is real pretty. And no date, but this one looks like the 60s. Not quite as new as the gold one I showed you. I love it. I love that someone held on to this, never used. And then I picked up some more greeting cards. I pulled the drawer all the way out, like all the way out, and looked in the back. I did not do that last time, and I found some more gems. This one looks to be Chinese. It has rice paper or some sort of netting that this is printed on. We've got kids building a snowman, and it's like in a frame. And then the back has this little deer, and it's got, I don't know, that looks Korean to me. I don't know. If y'all know, let me know. That, like, this looks Chinese, but that looks Korean. I don't know. It's to Major and Mrs. Shepherd from Colonel Han. So, super interesting, huh? This is adorable. I love this so much. I'll probably keep this one. From Missy. So some mother wrote down, there were several of these there, wrote down everything that their daughter got at her birthday. I guess that she could write a thank you note. And Missy gave her a sewing card set, which is oddly one of the things I have not found in my thrifting and stuff. I've not found any sewing cards. I love them. I think they'd be fun to add. Here's a Valentine for a granddaughter. I love that pink. I guess these are the other items that she got for Valentine's that year. This is a cute little embossed birthday card. I heard it from a kitten, who heard it from a dog, who heard it from a squirrel, who heard it from a frog, who heard it from a wise old owl, so it must be true. Today is someone's birthday, and that special someone's you. Love, Aunt Margaret. Is that not so cute? And she gave her a bubble blower. 4 years old. This is flopped up here. Love, Betty. We don't know what Betty gave her, do we? Maybe that was before she started writing. Y'all, I found one postulette in there, and it's like an 80s unicorn. So that was fun. And then last but not least is this beauty, y'all. Let me just let y'all admire this for a second, because I kind of stood there and did the same thing in the store. If this picture just doesn't like embody the early 60s, I don't know what does. It's just, everything about it is beautiful. And it's a blank birthday invitation. So score on that. And last but not least is a book. I've seen other junk journalers get this book. I have looked online to see if I could buy one used. I do not want to pay the prices that are online for this book used. I don't know why this book is so valuable, but I found it at the store for way less than what you would find it on eBay for. It's called Granny Chic, and I remember checking this book out from the library when I was really into shabby chic decorating in the early 2000s. Maybe a little bit after that. It might not be that old. 2012. Okay, it must have been the early 2010s. But people get this book not only just because you can learn from it and make things that it talks about in it, but the images in here are beautiful, and you can take it apart for journals. Just gorgeous photos of her workspace, but also like that. You could cut that out and make a tag. I mean, it's just beautiful. And the pages are very matte, very frosty feeling. They're not shiny at all. She has pictures of embroidery in here. As you can see, it is a beautiful book. If you ever see this book in a thrift store or yard sale, get it. Oh, she likes straw bags like I do. I have an obsession with embroidered straw bags. Like, bad. I love this, putting the cloth on the end of dishcloths. See, it's stuff like this that I'm like, I've got this fabric and I don't know what to do with this one long piece. That's what you can do with it. Little banners. It's just, I'm not going to flip through the whole thing. Y'all get the picture. Oh, a lampshade using old doilies. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Beautiful. If you like shabby chic and you like fabric, you need this book. So that's what I found at the Recraft store this time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for shopping with me. I hope it wasn't too rushed. We tried to take enough video to give you a clear picture of what these stores look like without boring y'all to death, because I know it's hard to watch something for so long that's kind of just looking around a store. It's much more fun when you're there yourself. I know that there's one in South Carolina and there's one in North Carolina. And I think they're only going to become more popular, I hope. Especially since a lot of the, quote, craft stores are selling less crafts nowadays. There are still people out there like me who love to craft. And so having an outlet like this where we can buy gently used craft supplies is amazing. But yeah, check out to see if you have one in your state or a state neighboring yours. They are well worth the drive in most cases, I would say. I hope all of you have a wonderful afternoon. And as always, we'll see you next time.